Hello, this is Shambhavi. Welcome to Satsang. Satsang is an ancient spiritual practice from India. It means being in reality together. I give Satsang live every Wednesday and Sunday night in Portland, Maine. This Dharma talk was recorded during one of our Wednesday night gatherings. Please visit jayakula.org to learn more about the teachings. You can find video satsangs on Jayakula's YouTube channel, and my books are all available on Amazon.com. Much love to you, wherever and however you are. I wanted to give a talk tonight on something that I found today from Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche. Put it on Facebook, and it's sort of in keeping with a number of talks and things that I've put out there recently, starting with the talk about intrinsic value and operating from your sense of inner goodness and just sticking to that as much as you possibly can. And then the discussions that we've had around pride. So Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche is no longer alive, but he didn't die that long ago. He was a great Nyingma teacher, very closely related to Dzogchen type of tradition, really beloved teacher. You probably recognize his picture if you don't recognize his name. He wrote or said, "Some people spend all their energy and even risk their lives to achieve fame. Fame and notoriety are both no more than an empty echo. Your reputation is an alluring mirage that can easily lead you astray. Discard it without a second thought, like the snot you blow from your nose." So what this does not mean is that we should just behave however we want and not care what anybody thinks of us, or we should, do stuff to try to have a bad reputation. It does not mean that. It means don't seek recognition. Don't spend your energy deliberately seeking recognition or deliberately defending your reputation or worrying at all about your reputation any more than you would worry about snot that you blew out of your nose. For those of us in this culture, that is a very tall order. Because even though some of you might not be seeking fame, maybe a handful of you, I would dare say that every single one of you is overly concerned about what other people think of you and about building a certain kind of reputation, even in a small sphere of people. And that you all spend an incredible amount of energy trying to be recognized in some way that you find positive. I want to pose the question, what would it feel like if you just stopped seeking recognition? It doesn't mean stop trying to be excellent. It doesn't mean stop trying to be thorough in what you do. But what if you simply stopped seeking approval or seeking recognition? What do you think that would be like? For us, here in the US, it would represent a good chunk of freeing up our energy and just freedom of expression. Right. Mm-hmm. If we stop defending ourselves against misinterpretations of who we are. Wow. Many of us are constantly on guard, vigilantly looking to make sure that other people aren't misinterpreting us or that other people are seeing us the way we want to be seen. That's a way of seeking recognition. It may not be, Trump, but it's not on that kind of a scale, but it is almost constant for a lot of you. what would it feel like to discard that activity, like blowing snot out of your nose, the way that Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche suggests? To simply cease all that activity of seeking any kind of recognition. I mean, he's not saying that recognition itself is a problem. It isn't. He was hugely recognized. It's like him and the Karmapa and the Dalai Lama, basically, when he was alive. He had thousands and thousands and thousands of people all over the world learning from him and loving him and respecting him. So it's not about whether or not anyone recognizes you for anything. It's about how you use your energy. And the level of defensiveness and anxiety and aggression with which you approach your minute-by-minute life. So everybody right now, see if you can feel that energy that goes into that. It's very palpable for a lot of you, right? You can feel that energy right there, kind of like, ever roving guards at the castle gate, roaming around looking for some way to defend and promote, defend and aggress. So imagine just stopping that. Just imagine for a minute, right now, what would that feel like? Some of you are literally exhausted with this activity of defending, aggressing, promoting, seeking recognition. Some of you are literally exhausting your vital energy doing this. Some of you have ruined whole relationships doing this. Some of you have gotten into very entangled situations because of this. Some of you are desperately lonely because of this behavior. There's not a single one of you that's benefiting from this. There is no benefit to be had. The only thing that ever happens is that someone, every now and then, or maybe if you have that karma in your chart, to be recognized in some way, then you get that really momentary feeling of victory. I wouldn't even call it happiness or satisfaction. I would just call it's a huge struggle, a huge minute-by-minute struggle that entangles and eats up your energy. And it's like a war that goes on for each one of you. And then victories! And then it's like, starts up all over again in 1 second. There's never any feeling of peace or satisfaction or fulfillment or contentment or like, okay, I did it. Now I can rest. There's never any rest from this. Looking out for insults, looking out to make sure things are being seen the way you want them to be seen. Trying to prove who you are. Trying to get people to say you're good. So what does it feel like to not do that? Do you even know who you are if you weren't doing that? Would you even know what to do with yourself if you weren't doing that? Wouldn't that be an exciting day to find out who you are when you're not doing that? Not trying to control anybody's opinion of you. Not putting anything out to try to garner approval or recognition. Just doing your thing, whatever that thing is. With no ulterior motive other than interest in what you're doing. What would it feel like to live with no ulterior motive? You're not trying to get anything. You're just doing what's natural to you. And that's why you're doing it, because that's what you do. And there's no other reason. How many people are able to kind of relax that for a minute and taste what a different way would be? So that's what you have to keep doing. You have to keep relaxing and tasting that. You have to sit in that condition. Get used to it. See what it feels like to move around in that condition. Right. Don't forget about it. If you want to be free, this is what you have to do. You have to let go of that struggle. To be recognized, to be thought of in any particular way whatsoever. And you have to be, whatever you're doing just has to be because that's what you do, not for some ulterior motive. Then you get your energy back. Then you get your creativity back, right? And if you do one more thing, which is stick to your integrity, like white on rice. Don't budge from following things in a way that feels like you're seated in your own integrity. Then, even though you may have reactions when things don't go your way, or somebody, thinks or says some off-the-wall thing about you, or, you do something that doesn't work out and people are unhappy, or whatever, the normal things that happen in life. If you are seated in your own integrity, operating from your own deepest values, like we talked about the other week, your own sense of goodness, then it'll be fine. You'll be fine. You won't be able to be budged off of that. And you won't be living out of in this mental prison of scrambling and strategizing about how to act. There's a lot of energy in this room, and a lot of it is getting used up with this type of activity. You are stealing energy, or energy is being stolen. I know you're not doing this on purpose, but energy is being stolen from your life, from your happiness, from your practice, from your relationships. And look how much energy and time and sort of vitality is being wasted with this. Right. Think about what you could get done. How you could focus more on Ma and on waking up and on what is really primordial here. If you weren't distracted by this enormous struggle that each of you is enacting in your own way. It's sapping your life. Right? That energy could all be going into something else, much more creative and expansive. And
you've noticed become more prevalent in millennials, or did you notice it even as a kid in, non-millennials?
I don't.
More strong, or
What I noticed as a kid wasn't this particularly. What I felt as a kid was that people were mean to each other. That I was just more focused on that. There was just a lot of interpersonal violence of all different sorts. And that was what disturbed me. I didn't particularly notice the self-promotion effort. And I would assume that it's gotten worse because of social media. I mean, there's different ages of people in this room, and I don't think there's a single person in this room that doesn't have some of this going on. Jayakula is a nonprofit community offering opportunities to learn and practice in the direct realization traditions of Trika Shaivism and Dzogchen. We are based in Portland, Maine and Portland, Oregon. Visit jayakula.org to explore more of our offerings.